Alright, guys and gals, this is going to be really short and sweet. Kengan Omega chapter 298. And you know why this is going to be short and sweet? Because nobody who's already set their minds that this is a bad chapter, this is a horrible chapter, Sandra, what are you doing? Is going to fucking listen to me anyways. So, I'm just going to make the point. No, the chapter wasn't bad. The chapter was good. You know what the problem with the chapter is? The big problem, and this has been a long-running problem with Omega as a whole and the newly introduced, the Omega characters as a whole. And that's a long-running problem. This chapter has not done anything different or anything unexpected. In fact, in this very chapter, it's been explained. So, let me ask you something. Do you think that the guy who got his ass kicked by Pre-Cat Agito should be able to stand up to a guy who went toe-to-toe with Kuroki 5 years ago, who not only did that, has mastered multiple techniques since and is now at the baseline of principles, and you think that he should not be able to one-shot this guy? We have no indication that Nutoku is any bit strong. Remember, he's not a regular fighter. He's a shitty writer. He's a writer who just doesn't have the it factor. So I can relate to that. I'm a YouTuber who's shitty at YouTube. So obviously I don't have fans, right? Same idea. So my big thing here, my takeaway, is that the chapter itself is not bad. The chapter actually, just sit back, pull your big boy pants up, and ask yourself this question. Does it make sense that Oma, who is trying to rival Shen, get to the baseline of Shen, would be able to one-shot these guys? If your answer is no, you're not reading the right manga. You just have blinders on because you don't like the disrespect for a character that you like. If you're a Nutoku fan going into this and you hate the fact that he showed up just to get one-shotted, that is a legitimate complaint. And I listened to all those on Reddit and everything all day and Discord, and I was like, yes, Nutoku fans, if you're a Nutoku fan, this was disrespectful, this sucked, blah blah blah. But does it make sense? Absolutely. From a power scaling perspective, he should be able to one-shot, which he basically did. He toyed with Toa. He made Toa sweat bullets, very Shen style with the foot. He literally was just playing loose game just to show him, oh, I can do it too, and I'm better at it than you now. And the only one who actually gave him trouble was a dude that we have known since Ashura, since Fist of the Seeker, and we know that he's a master. He's got the age behind him. He's like a Kuroki. He's already been up here. Same with the beginning. This is just skipping over. Now we're getting to Joji, who everyone from Fist of the Seeker fans, which I have not actually read, but I've heard enough about, Joji himself is definitely stronger than Kurushi, so this is going to be good. But as I said, the only worthy complaint about this chapter, because from a power scaling and a narrative perspective, this makes 100% sense. No, there's no press X for doubt with this shit. It makes total sense. This is a dude who's trying to get to the level that Shen walked up and took out 2 fangs plus extra bodyguards like they were nothing. He backhanded them for fun. He fought Kuroki, the strongest guy in the verse up to that point, with only using one side of his body. He only used his right side or his left side, whichever one. And he was like, oh, alright, interesting. Oma's trying to get to that level. So I'm sorry that your top of A tier, your S tier guys are getting fodderized, but it makes sense. You might not like to hear it, you might not like to see it, but it makes total sense at this point at chapter 298 of the story. Okay? Plus, not only that, Joji or Kurushi, I forget who, but somebody mentions that between these 3, now 4 fights, in the first 3 fights, and especially fighting Kurushi in the middle, Oma has done advancement growth. Now, in every other story, in Bleach, in One Piece, in Dragon Ball, in the biggest series in the world, everyone accepts this fact. That exponential growth comes from going out there. You can only do so much training and actually fighting and going toe-to-toe you gain exponential growth by doing this. It's done in One Piece for the hockey system, and nobody has a problem with that. It's done in Bleach. Kisuke Urahara at the very beginning was telling Ichigo the only way you're going to get better is by fighting stronger and stronger opponents in the Soul Society. You will advance. There's only so much training you can do in 10 days, but there's only so much training is going to get you. You're going to reach a level of linear growth where fighting actual opponents is going to be exponential growth. They mention this here in this chapter when it happened, and for some reason, everyone's mad about it. As I said, the only complaint should be from Nitoku fans, or fans of Omega characters that just are being done dirty. Fine, fantastic. You're not wrong. Most Omega characters introduced in the Omega series have been given the shaft, are now just placeholders. We got all these characters, and we don't do a whole lot with them. That's true, and that's a good, honest complaint about the series, but this chapter is not to be blamed for that. The chapter went exactly how it should have went. In fact, had Oma, who didn't use Nico style, or advance or anything, against the first two, had he gone all out against Toa and Lu, he would have one-shot them. We know this at this point. This is just a fact. But people would have been mad about that too. But Oma's trying to learn principles right now, but he had to be super serious. And Nitoku took him super seriously. This makes sense. He was just way faster. And here's going to be a fun caveat detail. Joji just showed up at the end of the chapter, right? So they're going to throw down. This is going to be even more evenly matched than the Kurushi fight. I fully expect that. Now the thing is, if Joji is going to say, no one else caught it, but I caught it. Did anybody consider that maybe because he saw that Nitoku, obviously Sambo, like the grappling is a problem, so striking's out, so they set striking poses, and Joji was explaining it. Nitoku and Oma were setting up for it. Nitoku even says in monologue, all right, I can't stop his first strike. I'm going to counter his first strike. I'm going to let him come to me. I'm going to gauge it, and I'm going to counter. That's the only way I'm going to gain an upper hand here and get him in close quarters. Going at him first is a bad idea, and it probably was. By the way, Nitoku took this punch, full force, passed out, and still managed to land a huge tackle which pushed Oma dozens of feet across. And Oma was like, what? Holy shit, even passed out, you still managed to grapple me and tackle me and stuff and push me? Like, damn. Because once again, his endurance, Nitoku's not a shitty fighter. It's just that Oma has gone beyond. And that's all these chapters have been showing. You don't have to like it, but it makes sense for the story. So stop with your complaints and your whining about the fact that it doesn't make sense. It makes total power scaling sense. It makes total narrative sense. It makes character development sense. It makes every other type of sense other than the fact that Nitoku, your character you like, is getting done dirty. That's why you don't like it. If you admit that, I'm good. And I'm like, yeah. It's unfair. It sucks. Nitoku has done nothing but basically lose this entire series since he was introduced. But then, again, he showed up as the guy who couldn't beat Agito. So, you know what I mean? He showed up as a dude who couldn't beat Agito. He's always been a loser. He might be cool, you might like him, he might be fun, and I like him as a character, but he's never not been a loser. So I don't know what you guys expected from an advanced level Oma to not take this guy. And as I said, final point, and I sort of got distracted there, but back to the fact that what if Joji says next chapter, nobody else caught, because we've seen Oma do this before. He did this in the Roland fight. He used the advance for a split second. That's why Nitoku messed up the timing. What if, when Oma went in, he turned on the advance and boom, and that's why he one-shot him. So wait a minute now, you're hating on the chapter because he got one shot, but what if it comes out that Oma went full out, full advanced, strike punch, straight to his jaw? And I'm sorry, once again, Mike Tyson, everyone has a plan until they're punched in the face. Nitoku had a plan, got punched in the face. No matter how durable your body is, you can't train this. As much as manga magic would lead you to believe, you can't train this, or you're born, or you're Saopang Wolverine skeleton. Maybe, but Nitoku doesn't have that. So he got punched in the face, But if it comes out that it's the advance, are you going to backtrack on yourself, or are you still going to, So, yeah. My biggest problem is the moment I read the chapter, it was quick, it was solid, and I was like, yep, this works, but I know for a fact, and I had the displeasure of going on Reddit and Discord and looking at everybody just whining, and I just said, whatever. Anyways, I said this was going to be short. It's still 10 fucking minutes long. So that's your review, guys. The chapter was fine. It makes narrative sense, character development sense, power scaling sense. It makes every other sense other than your butt hurt that Natoku got one shot. So if you don't like the chapter for that reason, sorry, tough tits. Let's just move on to chapter 299 where Joji, we knew going into this gauntlet of 5, the only ones who were going to do anything worthy of doing anything to Oma was Karushi and Joji. So I don't understand your shock. Why are you surprised? You called it weeks ago, and you're shocked that what you said would happen, happened. Yeah. Kengan community, you're not making sense. You're complaining for the sake of complaining, and you're just weird. So, anyways, that's the review. Chapter was fine. I'm looking forward to 299, and 298 was perfectly good. In fact, I'm going to say it was a great chapter. It was, because it made total sense to me. So, that's it. Like, comment, subscribe, or dislike. I know this one's going to get it because butthurt fans are going to feel called out and stuff, but whatever. I don't got time for this. I got to join a podcast in like 30 minutes. So, that's it. Have a good one, everyone. Sayonara.